What are the current critical issues and the outlook for the world economy?
Well, I will say there's two. For the United States, they have to come out of the quantitative easing, which was a crazy policy to begin with. No one knew how to come out when they get in. And so there will be a lot of confusion going forward as to how this massive excess reserves in the US banking system will be withdrawn. And interest rates could go up, it could cause all sorts of problems. That's one big challenge for the United States. And for Europe, there's a huge amount of private sector savings generated in Europe, but the government is not allowed to borrow all that money because of the Maastricht Treaty. And if you don't borrow all the savings generated in the private sector, that becomes a deflationary gap for the economy, and that's why European economies are doing so poorly. But Maastricht Treaty says you can only borrow 3% of GDP, but private sector is saving 7% of GDP or 10% of GDP. What happens to the remaining gap between the 3 and 7? The Maastricht Treaty has no answer to it because they never thought something like this is actually going to happen. So but until those issues are addressed, I'm afraid Europe will continue to struggle with excess private savings, not enough borrowing by the government.